Hey everybody, Rock DIY. Here we are again. This is a 2008 Honda CRV EXL, and this is kind of a difficult job to determine what's causing the problem, and I'll show that in a minute as much as I can because it's pretty hidden. In order to do this job, the main issue is the heater pipe needs to be replaced, and this is the heater pipe right here. Very difficult to get an OEM one. Luckily there are fabricators out there who caught on to the fact that this is difficult to get, so they started making these aftermarket, and this is a heater pipe. And so this is basically how it would go in the vehicle, and I'll show more detail in a minute. When you do get one of these, if you decide to buy one and do this on your own, make sure that they include this O-ring right there. If they don't, make sure you purchase it, because you want to find out you don't have it, and then you're gonna have to wait to get it. Like I said, this is very difficult to get. Now, along with the heater pipe, some other things that may be required or may not be required, but purchase these just to have them all on hand, and if need, I can return them. So you got the thermostat assembly and the actual thermostat. The heater pipe was purchased through Amazon using the OEM part number. The thermostat and a thermostat assembly were purchased through. One of the things that you do want to pay attention to, specifically on these two things, make sure they have these seals or O-rings. So this one has its seal, and then this one has its seal. But be aware that they may not be included. This right here was ordered through HondaParts.com as well, and these are the O-rings that go on the heater pipe, because I didn't know whether this was going to come with it or not. I ordered it, but they only sold it in 4-packs, so I have these, and it already had one. But I have some extras that I can return. The other thing that I did purchase through HondaParts.com is there's 2 different sets of bolts that are required for the thermostat and thermostat assembly. I don't know exactly what they look like in the car, so I purchased them to have them, and it's probably a good idea to replace them all. These are not the same. The ones that go on here are not the same that go on here, so don't just buy 6 of them and think they're going to work. These are difficult to see, but these are smaller bolt, shorter, and the smooth bore portion of it is shorter than the smooth bore portion here on this one here. See the bore right there. All right, if you order the OEM heater pipe, you might be okay if you get a good O-ring with it. If you order an aftermarket, you may run into an issue where the aftermarket O-ring is not thick enough to properly seal inside the housing of the thermostat. So it's just better to, even if you order an aftermarket heater pipe, order the OEM O-ring. If you've done this job before, then you know. If you haven't done this job before, then you will realize that you've got to do a lot of work to get to the point to figure out whether the heater pipe seals properly or not, which requires a bunch of components to be removed, put everything back together, and the only time that you can test it is after you put everything back together. I found out after everything was put back together that I was leaking coolant, which required everything to be disassembled once again. In this picture, you can see where the heater pipe is, and you can see where the 2 bolts go on the heater pipe that hold it in place, and these are the only 2 bolts that hold it in place. This may not be an issue with an OEM heater pipe, but if you get an aftermarket heater pipe and you go to put the bolts into the holes, you may find that it doesn't line up, like it's not true spec. So the issue may be that when you put these bolts in on the upper bolt, you will find that you have to push the heater pipe, and by pushing the heater pipe you may be causing the heater pipe to put additional torque on the area where the heater pipe goes into the thermostat, which is going to make the O-ring not seal properly. You may be told, or you may decide that you're going to replace your heater pipe, and you may not know for sure that it's just the heater pipe. It could be a combination of the heater pipe and also the thermostat and thermostat housing. So it's better to buy all these components at one time so that you have them on hand. An auto repair place will commonly tell people that all these components need to be replaced, even if they don't need to be replaced. In this case, it was a good call to purchase all of the thermostat components because, as you can see in this portion of the video, that the thermostat side, the housing itself, has a crack, and that crack could have been there forever, or it could have just cracked recently. All 6 of the bolts that hold the thermostat assembly and housing together typically rust quite a bit, so just be prepared that it might be a good idea to purchase all 6 of these bolts. It may not need to be replaced, but if there's a good chance that the starter in your car has never been replaced and you are having issues with your car starting, it might be time to replace the starter. Unfortunately, the non-OEM starters, they're probably around $150 to $250, and then an OEM starter is about $550 to $650 purchase. But if you're going through all this work to do the heater pipe and the thermostat and you've got everything out of the way, it'll make doing the job for replacing the starter much easier. But you can replace the starter without having to remove all those other components. But this would be a good opportunity to get the starter replaced.